I'm 88 years old, and I can tell you this now without any drama in it at all. The question of when to stop working is one of the last honest questions life ever asks you. Most people don't hear it clearly when it first comes. I didn't. I'm sitting at my kitchen table as I say this, same table I've had for 30 years. One chair is empty. It's been empty a long time. I still catch myself setting a second mug down some mornings, then quietly putting it back. Retirement isn't a finish line. It's a door you either walk through while it's open, or you notice later that it closed without asking you. When I was younger, I thought there would be a moment when the answer became obvious. Some feeling of readiness, some sense of arrival. That moment never came. What came instead were questions, small ones, easy to ignore. I ignored them for years. Looking back now, there were 5 questions that mattered. I didn't know they were questions at the time. They didn't sound important, but they decided more than my career. They decided how my last decades would feel. The first question was this: who are you trying to impress now? In my 50s, I told myself I was still building something, still proving myself. I couldn't have told you exactly to whom. My boss was younger than me. My kids were grown. The neighbors didn't care what I did for a living. But I kept going. Longer hours, fewer dinners at home. I wore my tiredness like a badge. One night, my wife asked me, "Why do you still come home angry?" I didn't have an answer that made sense. I said something about responsibility, about staying sharp, about not wanting to be useless. What I didn't say was that I didn't know who I was without the job. And instead of admitting that fear, I pretended I was being noble. If you're honest with yourself and you realize no one is actually watching anymore, that's a question you should sit with, not answer quickly. Just sit with. The second question is quieter. If you stopped tomorrow, what would you miss, and what would you feel relieved to lose? People talk about missing purpose. That word gets thrown around a lot. For me, it wasn't purpose I missed. It was routine, predictability, being needed in a way that came with a paycheck. But there was relief too. Relief I didn't want to admit. Relief at the thought of not rushing, not sitting in traffic, not pretending emails were urgent when they weren't. I felt guilty about that relief. So I worked longer to drown it out. The truth is, if the relief feels heavier than the loss, that tells you something. It doesn't mean you're lazy. It means a chapter might already be over, even if you're still showing up. I wish I'd trusted that feeling earlier. The third question is the hardest one, and most people never ask it straight. What are you postponing because work gives you an excuse? For me, it was time. Time with my wife. Time with my own thoughts. Time to feel things I didn't want to feel. Work was very convenient. If I stayed busy, I didn't have to notice how quiet the house had become. I didn't have to face how distant some friendships had grown. I didn't have to sit with the fact that my body was changing and I couldn't outwork it anymore. I told myself I'd travel after. I told myself I'd slow down after. I told myself there would be time after. After turned out to be a smaller place than I imagined. My wife got sick while I was still telling myself there would be time. Not suddenly, gradually. The kind of illness that gives you warnings. I still went to work most days. I still told myself I was being responsible. I was in a meeting when she called once and said she was tired, just tired. I told her I'd be home late. I don't remember what that meeting was about. I remember that phone call. If your job is the reason you're not living something you claim matters, that's not discipline, that's delay. And delay is expensive. The fourth question is practical, but it carries more weight than numbers. If you're being honest, are you still choosing this, or are you afraid of stopping? I used to say I chose to work. that it kept me alive, that it kept my mind sharp. What I didn't say was that stopping scared me. Silence scared me. Unstructured days scared me. The idea of waking up with nothing required of me scared me more than exhaustion ever did. But fear is a terrible advisor. It keeps you moving long after movement stops being meaningful. When I finally retired, later than I should have, I discovered that the fear had lied to me. The days didn't collapse. I didn't disappear. I just noticed things more. The way light moved across the floor, the sound of the clock, the weight of memories I'd postponed. I wish I'd known that stopping doesn't erase you, it introduces you to yourself. The fifth question is the one that stays with me now. If you keep going exactly as you are, what will you wish you had done differently when your body finally decides for you? Because it will. No one outruns that. I didn't choose my ending. My knees chose it. My heart chose it. One doctor's appointment where the conversation shifted, gently without asking my opinion. Suddenly work ended without ceremony. No long goodbye. No victory lap. Just a quiet handing over of responsibilities. I remember clearing out my desk. It took less than an hour. That should have told me something. What I wished I'd done differently wasn't about money. It wasn't about titles. It was about attention. I wished I'd paid it sooner, to people, to moments, to myself. I don't regret working hard. I regret assuming work was the safest place to put my time. Now, in the evenings, I sit in that quiet. Sometimes it's peaceful. Sometimes it aches. Both are honest. If you're asking yourself whether you should retire right now, it probably means something inside you is already knocking. Not shouting, just knocking. You don't need my answers. You need to listen to your own questions. Because one day, much sooner than you think, you won't be deciding anymore. You'll just be remembering. And memory is a patient thing. It waits.